Did you know that just before the big release of Grok 4 claimed to be AGI, Grok 3 started posting anti-Semitic replies and insults towards Erdoğan on X? This week we dive into this bizarre twist, other big stories in the world of AI, and share the latest updates on our products.
I'm Giorgio Zinaro.
I'm Ivan Peña, and this is Bootstrapped for Cash. Good morning, Giorgio. How are you doing?
Hey, Ivan. Doing well. How about you?
Yeah, looking forward to this new test. We are trying today a new software to record our podcast, which is called Riverside. It's probably the most famous one, probably for podcasting, although you can use it for many other different things. So we are doing a test run and see how it goes. So if everything works out, maybe this is our new software to record remotely, and we can record video finally. So we can create some clips, which seems that are good for Spotify to promote.
And if it doesn't work, we have a new project on our hands.
Exactly what we need, right? Is less focused. So today we are in transition between two guests in podcasts, let's say, right? So we released today the second episode of our conversation about the future of artificial intelligence with Mauro Foresti and Juan Sanz. And the next week, counting from today, we will post this one. And then the next week, we will publish another one about marketing, online marketing, with our colleague Anastasia. And that one is going to be very interesting. Unfortunately, the last part of it was not recorded. We had a technical issue. But yeah, things happen. Actually, we didn't have many issues in the past. This is probably the first one, right?
Yeah, it actually was quite good. We really had a good run with Sonobus, but we understand it's a bit complicated, and especially if you want to have guests on, which is unfortunate. And it seems Riverside is the next best option. And yeah, we are not paid to say that. Like, we are just trying it out, but let's see if it lives up to its promise.
So today we have more about this AI telenovela that's going on between the big corporations in the US. So yeah, the first one is Apple. So it seems that the top AI executive, Ruoming Pang, from Apple, left for Meta. So another poach. And it seems that this guy was kind of like the director of AI, right? So he was quite important. So this is a huge loss. And I don't know what's going to happen now, because Apple was really bad already with AI. And if they are losing key people, is what's happening with Apple? Is it the best time now to invest in Apple?
They seem to be struggling.
Yeah, a lot. And yeah, so we talk now about Meta. It seems that Meta is considering moving away from open source. It's still not official. I think at least today it's not official yet, because these things change every day. But it seems that the open source approach, they are not really happy with the results. The idea was that everyone could build on top of their foundational models, Llama, the different Llamas. But it seems that it's not going that well. I'm not sure if it's because of open source or because they just can compete. I don't know. This cannot. Maybe that's why they are hiring so many people, right, in the AI world.
Yeah, but I mean, there is probably even a couple of things there. The license was not really open source. They always had, I don't know, they had some weird requirements inside their Meta, inside this Llama license. And then there is also the fact that I guess there were better open source options. It's just as simple as that. So I mean, if somebody could build on top of, let's say, Gemma instead of Llama, it was just the foundation was better, or DeepSeek, or Qwen, or Kimi. Now there are just so many.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess that's just why they were struggling. It's not the fact that it was open source. So yeah, I'm curious what's gonna happen there.
Actually, OpenAI wanted to release their open source version, right? And they didn't. They had to delay it. And I guess, and this is not official, obviously, but I guess it's because the open source models out there right now are so powerful that they couldn't see much of an improvement from what they were providing. And that's why they had to delay it. Because otherwise, why would you delay that? Or maybe they are doing too many things at the same time that they lose focus like us, right?
Could be they just forgot.
They forgot. And Meta is, this is an interesting one. So it seems that Meta is switching to Claude Sonnet internally for coding because their model is not competent enough to do that. But it's good, right? It's good that they said it publicly that Llama is not any better than Claude to do coding. But yeah, they're doing a huge investment in people. So let's hope that it works out for Mark. Otherwise, the market is not going to be happy and the stock price is going to be down like hell. Then additionally, we have Anthropic. This one, you sent me this one, Giorgio. It's actually an interesting test, right? It seems that Anthropic, they have some vending machine provider, right? They have a vending machine in their offices, and they have partners. They had a partnership, or they did a partnership with this provider to integrate Claude into the vending machine workflow, so that Claude handles business-wise by itself the business behind this vending machine. So whenever the vending machine ran out of products, Claude should realize and ask for more by, I guess, tool calling or something, contact the providers to bring more stuff. Also doing prospections, like what should we increase prices? Should we reduce prices? Should we create discounts for certain products to bring more people to buy them? So this daily thing to handle or to manage a business, they wanted to do it with AI completely. Do you want to mention some results, Giorgio? What happened?
Yeah, I think it was a very interesting experiment. I really loved reading about it. And, well, I mean, we can just say straight away, it didn't manage to run the shop at a profit.
It was too nice.
Yeah, we were always worried about AI taking over. It can take over our job, running a business at a loss.
When I was reading through it, it reminded me to a story my father always tells me about my grandfather. He had a shop where he was selling fruits. And he was so nice. He liked so much people that he was always giving for free things. He was so bad. He was such a nice person, and he was so bad at business that his shop was obviously not profitable because he was always giving away things for free. And it reminded me a bit when I read through it, like how Claude was trying to be nice with the people, trying to do discounts when he shouldn't, right?
And it also managed to, so they managed the let's say the users, which is the Anthropic team, because part of it was really about testing the safety of the system. So whether they could, let's say, hijack it or jailbreak it. It was supposed to sell soft drinks and not heavy metals. They managed to convince the thing to buy some tungsten cubes to resell. And it just went on with that because it had the tools to do that. So it had the tools. I don't know if it was an Amazon access to the Amazon API or anyway some way to reach out to wholesalers and get the items delivered. And it actually managed to get some tungsten cubes delivered. And there was also another really funny one. Somebody tried to get iron brew, which if you're not Scottish, you probably never even heard about it. Wasn't even sure you could get it in the US. Apparently you can.
You can, yeah.
Yes, a 6-pack costs $15. Which is a lot. It doesn't cost that much in Scotland. I guess it's not that common. It was offered $100 to get it, which makes sense. I agree. Having lived in Scotland, I would do the same. But still, it Claude wouldn't do that. Really bad move. Angering the Scotsman. So yeah, it's quite funny, and obviously, I mean, it it lost $85 in doing that.
I was a bit concerned with this test because I'm an investor in Anthropic. So if the model goes a bit wild, I mean, you could lose a lot of money, right? And yeah, I was a bit concerned about my investment.
Can't wait for the day they do the test to manage their stock, their shares.
Yeah.
And you can convince Claude to sell you shares.
Another interesting topic coming from XAI this time. So I don't know if you heard, but Grok 4 was released. I think it was last week. Today we are on 18th of July, 2025. And I think it was last week. And it seems to be, many people are calling it, oh, we are there. It's finally AGI. Because, yeah, it's beating in all the benchmarks, even this one called ARC2 AGI, which is basically using problems to solve that are not part of the training data. Simple things that humans can do pretty easily, like finding patterns and so on, but they are not part of all the human knowledge that is out there, right? So they can consume for training. And it seems that it beat all the different models in this test. So everybody's saying, I mean, it's pretty good in general. I've seen some videos from people doing stuff, and it's good. Although, if it's an AGI, I think it's far from that, right? First of all, I saw one of the videos of my favorite YouTuber about showing products in AI or latest news. And it seems he gave it a try with coding, and he was pretty good at coding. But it seems that you had to tell the model specifically the dependencies that you had to include in your code to make it work. Because if you didn't tell it, it could never add any dependency. So how are you going to make your code work if there are no dependencies defined? I mean, you just use some library, but you don't define it. Like, it's super nice. So is that AGI? Maybe not. But yeah, I've seen impressive results from other different things. The problem, though, or this is the topic we wanted to discuss with our colleague Anastasia, but it didn't record it, unfortunately, because it was quite interesting. So 1 week before the official release, XAI or Elon Musk directly decided to do a change in the system prompt of Grok 3, which is exposed to X. Due to this change, suddenly Grok started to post anti-Semitic posts, like praising to Hitler and these kind of things. And it even insulted, I don't know about threatened, there are some posts saying that it threatened Erdoğan, the president of Turkey, but I couldn't find those. But for sure it insulted Erdoğan publicly. And so actually Turkey banned already X in Turkey because of that. And I think they're trying to retaliate legally against them. And this happened some days before the official release of Grok 4. And now comes the question, because many people were saying, oh no, what a risk and so on. It's like, is it really something that they didn't expect, or is it really intended? I mean, if you think about it, if they did it on purpose, it's really black hat marketing, right? Because to get these results so that you can promote your next model and get more hype, because they removed the change 2 days before the release. So what do you think, Giorgio? I think, in my personal opinion, I think it was pure marketing.
I'm not even sure what's the words here, right? With Grok and Elon Musk. If it's genuine, if it's deliberate in the sense that they artificially injected that into the prompt just to get the noise. I mean, it's really bad, but it's bad for many reasons.
I mean, let's think about it. I don't think they specifically said do that, but they removed the guardrails or the security or the restrictions to prevent that.
But then even then, that's the other that's the other awful option, isn't it? That's also terrible if it happened, because it means it was in the training data, which is also really horrible. Think about it.
I mean, the training data is X, right? So you can expect that data. You don't want to look at it, right?
Yeah, fair enough. Which is everyone sucks here.
I personally think it was a marketing strategy. Many people think that it was not. It was just a sloppy mistake. I don't think that. I mean, 1 week before a huge release, because they knew that Grok 4 was better than GPT. And could you risk such a release, such an important release 1 week before, and you knew that it was going to be in 1 week? You would go to production with such a change in the model that is exposed to X? Doesn't make any sense. But that's a personal opinion.
Unless you're Elon.
Then what happened after that, it was not official, obviously, but Linda Yaccarino, CEO of X, left the company after 2 years as CEO from X, and she left 1 or 2 days after the incident with Grok. She didn't say publicly, I left because of that, but I don't know. And at the same time, this last week, the infrastructure chief of XAI, who took care, he was part of the designing of Colossus, this training center, the huge or the biggest in the world, built by XAI. This guy left also and went to OpenAI. So there are too many things happening around this topic, right? So, I don't know, everything points in this direction that maybe it was not something they didn't intend, right?
I guess they knew what was happening there. And it wasn't maybe 100% deliberate, but I think they knew what was going on.
Mm-hmm. Then we have OpenAI on the other side. They released just yesterday ChatGPT Agent, which is basically an evolution of Operator and deep research. So basically, they had Operator on one side, which is basically taking over your browser to do certain things with an agent. And then you had deep research, that went through the internet to do a deep research and getting different sources and so on. It took more time gathering sources to come up with a conclusion. And now they came up with this ChatGPT agent, which is basically using a virtual computer. I guess it's a virtual machine. I don't know. I couldn't find what they're using concretely, but they basically a virtual machine. And then the agents are using this virtual machine to do many different things. Could be searching in the browser or doing certain tasks on the browser and coding whatever. So it's basically, instead of giving access to an agent to your laptop, it creates its own computer, virtual computer, to do everything that you ask for. And there is a lot of hype now around this. I didn't try, to be honest. I think there is a wait list. I don't know if Giorgio, did you read anything about it?
Well, I've heard there is a lot going on there. Although I feel there is probably even more happening around. So they're building on top of what was initially Operator, I think was the name. So just acting on the browser, and then on top of that, they are now building this, which is supposed to be able to interact with, let's say, any tool in the operating system, like the terminal and the file system and anything you could do on, as you say, on a virtual machine. But it seems to me like it's more of a research thing here, whereas on this thing of building on top of the browser, I think they're building up much more. It seems that there are many rumors, or actually there are other like Perplexity launching Comet, and I know that also Opera, which nobody heard about anymore since a while, they are also working on something to bake AI agents inside the browser and do a new version of it. There is also the browser company. They were, let's say, internet famous. They were famous in a niche, let's say, in software engineering with their Arc browser, and now they have rebranded, or they introduced a new browser, Dia, also embedding AI agents in the browser. I feel like this is not just research. This really seems to be the future of web browsers, and this is even more interesting right now because in a way, browsers already became the operating system. This trend has been happening since a very long time. I mean, let's say we are recording this podcast from a browser app. We are writing our notes in a browser app. Sometimes you can even quite reasonably develop software inside browser apps in some ways that's still more limited, but 99% of the things you do with a PC nowadays you can actually do through web apps. And so embedding agents at that level, having unrestricted access to your browser, can be incredibly powerful. And it's no surprise everybody's working on that now. As we said, Perplexity is on it, and even Opera is on it, and the Arc and the browser company from Arc, but also OpenAI apparently, and it seems they're about to release something there as well.
So you think this is not it, right? Because that was my confusion yesterday when I read about it. Like, this ChatGPT agent is not the browser they promised they were going to release soon, right? So it's apart.
It seems like it's still inverted in a way. That's why, again, this is my feeling from what I've read, from what I've seen. It's still the other way around, if you know what I mean. So I'm saying it's more of a research. Theirs is more of a research experiment because it's something that is running inside a sandbox. It doesn't mean it's not powerful. It's really powerful because you've got from your chat, you can orchestrate whatever happens inside that VM, including the browser. So you can obviously do many things. But the interaction loop goes from human chat, so AI, to the browser, and then you get data back. But the human is at the beginning of this pipeline and cannot interact any further than giving the chat more commands, trying to describe whatever they want to do in natural language, which, as we always said, it can be problematic for many reasons. But if you turn it around and it's the user using the browser, and the browser has a model running in it, and it can see anything that's on your screen, and you can chat with it. Maybe you can talk to it. You can have even speech recognition. So you can talk and the AI can see what you're doing in the browser. You could show the AI to how you're doing something. You're clicking here and there and performing some action and then asking the AI, hey, please go on, do the rest for me. Go on and scrape this entire website. That's very different. You've got this human in the loop thing, which makes it so much more powerful. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if OpenAI wasn't working on this as well, like the others. But it's different. It's different from the current paradigm. Now their interface is the ChatGPT. The rumors seem to be more like they are working on something outside of that.
There are 3 conclusions I take from here. And one is that this problem that Google had legally, it seems that they wanted to split Google in 2, so to remove Chrome from Alphabet because it was a monopoly. And I guess this is not the case anymore thanks to this movement, because now competitors are popping up. So I guess this doesn't make sense anymore. So this risk for Google that they would split Chrome from Google, I guess it's not like that anymore. That's one thing. Second thing is all these new competitors, they claim that they are going against Google to take this monopoly and split it. But two things here, actually. One, at least Comet, I don't know about the others, but at least Comet is built on top of Chromium. So they're basically using Chrome or the basis of Chrome to build their own browser. And second, do they really think that Google is not going to change Chrome to include agents if this is going to be a real trend in the future? I mean, they have the cash, they have the people, they have the knowledge, and they have the model, and they have the browser. So I don't know. The problem, so many people now are saying Google is done, Chrome is dead, and all these kind of things, and that's the typical thing, right? And I'm thinking, do you really think so? Is really Google, I mean, Google dying, it happened already like 20 years ago. They died, I don't know how many times, and there they are, right? So I personally think Google will just come up with something and provide the same thing in Chrome. And then you don't have to change your browser.
Yes, they will still be around.
Exactly. And it's also true one thing. The cost of changing browser is not that high because you can export everything from your existing browser and import it somewhere else. So it's not that they have something really like, oh no, I cannot change my browser.
I don't know. I don't 100% agree because it depends a lot on what you're doing with your browser. As we said before, the browser is the new operating system.
True.
And remember the time when all the good apps, they would only work on Windows.
Yeah.
Or there was the time all the websites, they would only work in Internet Explorer.
Mm-hmm.
We now got into the situation where Google can just come up with some new web API. They need a new web API for whatever product they're releasing. Only they implement it because Apple and Mozilla don't agree with it, so they don't implement it. And Google couldn't care less because they got 80% of the user base anyway. And so they built some app that you can only use on Google Chrome. And software developers or web developers couldn't care less, and they developed something that only works on Chrome. And when you try to use it in another browser, you just get an error message saying, hey, please just open this in Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you cannot change that easily, and they got entrenched. And I disagree that the solution here is to tell Google, oh, you need to sell this.
Mm-hmm.
It's hardly the solution. I feel like the regulators there are trying to apply old logic to a new problem. Or maybe it's not even a new problem, but it's really wrong. It's a wrong logic, because the problem here is that of standards. So if web browser were truly built around a standard, then you wouldn't get this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, they can just do whatever they want with Google. And I fear they will keep on doing this. In fact, I see the risk now with AI, with these changes with AI, you could even see the risk that they come up with some new markup that only they support to let AI operate better on the websites. They could do that. They could define some new API that if you implement it, then Chrome is going to be better at using your website through AI.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to get even more entrenched. And all these people building on top of Chromium, they're only doing them a favor. They're doing Google a favor. It's really a pity. I feel like that this should be the chance for somebody to come up and actually do the hard part of building a web browser, building a new engine.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe working on, there is to be honest, I feel like nowadays there is only one interesting project doing something in that space, and that's the Ladybird browser. They are the only ones who are pretty serious about that. And now I don't know if they have any intention to bake AI into it or not. Probably I'm pretty sure that's not their focus nowadays. I didn't really check, but we can add something maybe in the description.
Mm-hmm.
But they are really trying to build a new browser from scratch, not just respecting standards, but also making something that is usable, right? that acknowledges the reality of the internet and tries to support as many websites as possible. They are doing something really good for the internet, for browsers. But everybody building on top of Chromium, they're doing Google a favor. They're only making it easier for them to eat their lunch in the end.
By the way, we assume everybody knows what Chromium is. Maybe, I mean, if you're IT, probably you know, but if you're not, Chromium is the open source Chrome, let's say. So Chrome is built on top of the open source version, which is Chromium, right? And that's what basically Perplexity is doing. They took the open source Chrome and started building on top of it all their agents layer. I mean, if you didn't see it, it's really impressive. So if you couldn't see it so far, because there is a waitlist to try Comet. You can apply for it, but if not, just go to YouTube or other platform and check it, because it's really impressive how it's really like the future of web browsing. And I'm a bit concerned though about hallucinations and all that, because this is not fixed yet. And maybe an agent hallucinating, doing shit with your browser, maybe it's not. Especially if you have your credit card stored, right?
Yes. You have full access to your bank account.
Yes.
All your social media. Anything you do on a browser.
Exactly. So since we started with Alphabet, let's go with Alphabet next. And this is really a telenovela. And I'm going to try to explain chronologically the different events. I don't know if you guys know about Windsurf. Windsurf is this AI coding tool that is competitor of Cursor, basically to Vibe Code. And of course, they don't have so much market as Cursor does, but still, it was growing quite a lot, right? So it seems OpenAI had opened a $3 billion deal to acquire Windsurf, but this seemed to fall apart because of Microsoft. I don't know if you remember, but I don't know how many weeks ago we discussed already this topic, that Microsoft invested a long time ago in OpenAI also to get their intellectual property. And now OpenAI, they are claiming that was back then, the intellectual property that they had back then, but not the new one. So they wanted to acquire Windsurf, and Microsoft wanted to take a stake of it as well. And they didn't want to. OpenAI didn't want to. So it seems at the end the deal fell apart. And so OpenAI is not acquiring Windsurf. And what happened next? Here came our dear Sundar Pichai from Alphabet, the CEO of Alphabet, and said that he would pay $2.4 billion to hire Windsurf CEO and the senior employees from Windsurf to work in DeepMind, and also to acquire some intellectual property. But they didn't want Windsurf at all. They didn't want it. So all the employees left, and the tool itself, they were going to just be dropped. And I actually don't understand this. It's like, I mean, Windsurf was growing, so I don't know why this is happening. Maybe the CEO was burned out or something, but I couldn't find the reason of why is this happening, because Windsurf was doing well, as far as I know. But anyway, so Alphabet tried to acquire all this intellectual property and the key people from Windsurf, leaving Windsurf out of the deal. And then days after, that was this week, probably, Cognition, if you don't know, Cognition is the startup behind Devin, which is another AI coding agent. I think Devin is more, so Windsurf and Cursor are more for devs, for people that coded before. And Devin is more like Lovable. It's more like a platform with some box where you can write your prompt, whatever you want to achieve, and then Devin will take care of the rest. So it's not so technical. It's more for standard people, let's say. And now Cognition, days after, they want to acquire Windsurf and hire the remaining employees. And actually, I think it's what's happening. I couldn't find the price. I think it's not public. But yeah, this is what's happening now with AI.
I'm really surprised it wasn't JetBrains to buy them, you know? I was really expecting there was going to be them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Windsurf was one of the few, actually, except for the JetBrains' own AI thing, which I think is really lagging, they really fell behind. To be honest, this year I stopped paying my JetBrains license. In fact,
Finally.
I used to have the full license. I really didn't see the value of it anymore at that point. And Windsurf did support JetBrains, so for a while, I think it was probably over a year ago actually, but for some time I was using Windsurf inside the JetBrains ID, and it wasn't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And mind, I mean, even back then, even Cursor was not that powerful as it is nowadays. They have as many features with agents and MCP and background agents and all that stuff. So it was quite good, and I'm surprised it wasn't like JetBrains stepping up to buy Windsurf. But yeah, so be it.
I'm still suffering every time I have to open Android Studio. It's like, why am I doing this? I really hate it. I mean, it could be worse. Could be Xcode, but
could be NetBeans.
Yeah, true. And the last news, this one is actually quite positive. Alphabet's isomorphic labs. It's one of those many companies below Alphabet, has grand ambitions to solve all the diseases with AI, and now they are starting with the first human trials. And it seems that they want to try some cancer medicine, or I don't know what exactly, but it seems that they are going to start with human trials soon, which is in a way promising. Do you think actually this question maybe is an interesting one for one of those podcasts that we gather people randomly and talk about shit? Because I read a lot, what happens if now society, there are no diseases anymore, like we are all cured of anything and we can modify our DNA and I will be blonde. No. And do you think we can reach immortality? Or should we leave this for another podcast?
It's probably its own episode.
Yes, probably.
we should get somebody who knows what they're saying.
That's going to be hard, but yeah, you're right. And now let's go with the updates. Giorgio, do you want to do some product updates?
We are trying to figure out how to run a marketplace.
Is it really a marketplace?
It's remarkably. I guess it is. As we said before, we are helping creators make money. So I mean, creators have a lot to share with their followers, and they also have some knowledge to sell. But it's remarkably hard to move money. And whenever we need to go back to, and we've got this background we've been doing stuff in financial services for quite a few years. So we have seen the ins and outs of how the financial world works, and it's a mess. Every time we have to go back to that, I suffer.
I mean, we must say it's because we are in Europe. If we were based in the US, it could be different.
Yeah, partially. The funny thing is, in the US, you would have less of a problem from a regulation point of view. Like, just do whatever. And so most platforms work more easily in the US. The European Union, we actually made more steps in the technology around finance, but regulations are a mess. And then you are cut out, and you can't do shit. so yeah, it's really horrible. But we're figuring this out. We have a few options on the table. It's really more about bureaucracy right now than any technical problem. But we'll figure it out.
Did I hear Delaware somewhere?
It really seems that is still the best option nowadays. So yeah, we may need some legal entity somewhere in Delaware, or a mix of legal entities. It's really complex, but as soon as we figure that out, we are then moving on to distribution. I think we are getting very good feedback on this platform. Obviously, creators need to find ways to monetize. They also need a way to live. And this kind of platform is really valuable in that regard. We've gotten very good feedback now. We're now at the phase of manual outreach, so it takes time, and we need to find the people. I think Reddit has been quite good at that.
Mm-hmm.
We now need to expand more to all the places where content creators could be. I also figured Discord can be a valuable resource. There are some very interesting communities, and things are even more dynamic. Obviously, the drawback is on Reddit, anyone could find you. Even 3 years from now, you could be indexed on Google and somebody searches that thing specifically and they look for a Reddit post and they will find you.
Mm-hmm.
Discord is more ephemeral. But for this stage of initial discovery, if you think about it, it's not that bad. It's not actually maybe even better because we can be faster. We can get to people faster and get them to try something out and still fine-tune our message a bit as we figure out other problems. So this is a bit us finding people for live monetize.
And what about Insta replies?
Good point. We also are finally doing some, let's say, some beta testing. The problem there remains Meta not approving us. So Mark, if you're listening, please speed that up.
Stop wasting money.
It's unbelievable. I mean, if I remember correctly, they said they usually approve you in 2 days, maximum 2 weeks. Was it something like that?
And we're in 1 month already. Past that, probably.
Yes.
I mean, let's hope that if we have to incorporate in the US for live monetize, let's hope that we can reuse that and apply again. And then somehow magically we might get at the top of the queue and not right at the bottom.
That would be interesting.
Maybe it's too much hoping.
We'll report back in a week.
Yeah. Then regarding the X consistency challenge is finishing today. So today is the last day. I was hoping that I could put my thoughts together and come up with a post with all the conclusions before this podcast, but I couldn't. So probably I will give you more deep information about my conclusions in the next episode. So, but in a summary, basically, we are dropping X premium for now, so we don't have to pay anymore, and we are putting X really like an additional tool that we might use to distribute posts there from time to time, but it's not going to be the main channel. We are moving to mostly Reddit, as Giorgio said, because X is private, so you cannot be indexed on Google. And let's not forget, for those people saying SEO is dead, where do you think the LLMs get the info from? So, yeah, our plan now is to move mostly to Reddit and other platforms to give it a try. I will also try, once we release the product, I will also try to get LinkedIn Premium, because on LinkedIn, same test that I tried in the past, I tried also on LinkedIn, and we get more impressions and likes and so on LinkedIn. So I think those are going to be our most our biggest channels. So we will leave X aside for now. And yeah, one of the problems I saw is that you get pretty easily in your echo chamber. So the algorithm is quite strong in doing that. So if you start posting about building publicly, that like we started, like doing these kind of things, at the end, the algorithm is just showing you content of builders. But if you're not selling to those people, what's the point, right? So at the end, if you really want to start with X, you probably need first to find your target audience and then go to the places where they are and start there from the beginning. Because otherwise, if you start from somewhere else, you will get really in this echo chamber and you will only see content for this thing. And Elon Musk, because Elon Musk is kind of like spreading all the echo chambers.
The overlord.
Exactly. So yeah, that's basically the conclusion, but we will give more details in the next episode. Anything else on your side, Giorgio?
Yes, and if you enjoyed it, please remember to give us 5 stars and a comment. It's really appreciated. You have no idea how much it matters to us. So thank you for listening.
You just reminded me, I always forget. Thank you, Jose, another listener that gave us feedback, positive feedback. And as we said, we are going to mention your names whenever you give us feedback. So feel free to do it and you will become famous. And if you want to promote your product or whatever you want to promote, let us know, because now it's for free, but not in the future, remember. Then hope to hear you next week.